right. So today on the Entire Life series, I have Michael Yeung, and he is calling in today from Hong Kong. It's actually 10 o'clock tomorrow there. And I'm up in Park City, Utah right now, enjoying the cold, snowy weather. A bit of a change from sunny Southern California there. But Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I noticed that you were posting on Facebook and you were really positive, and I just loved what you had to say. I loved your energy. So I invited you onto the podcast here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So first off, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, greetings from Hong Kong. So where should I start? So in a nutshell, just to give you a 30-second elevator pitch of what I do, I am a productivity and performance coach as well as a business consultant. And basically what I help my clients with, or let's say what my vision and mission is for a business, is to help client-based or service-based entrepreneurs to create the life and business they desire and deserve. So how we do this is that we basically introduce and coach them through a blend of high performance and business strategies to allow them to scale up their revenue, scale up their impact, while scaling up their time freedom and life balance. And it really all comes down to our ability to build our business around our life rather than our life around our business, which is something that we're all prone to. And really, that brought me to you eventually, because everything comes out of clarity, because the more clear we are and the more specific we are towards what we want to achieve, more likely we are to achieve it.
Absolutely, 100%. I knew that there was going to be a good connection there. So for yourself, how do you go about getting clarity for yourself? And also, how do you help your clients get clarity?
Sure. So basically, what I do for myself and what I help my clients do, it's more or less the same, because like basically everything that I do is all like I basically introduce them through strategies that I've gotten from my own personal experiences, as well as what I've learned all the time, and distill it to a way that's easily applicable or practical for my clients as well. So basically what I do when it comes to clarity, it really is to start with the vision of what I have for my life, also my purpose, and also my why, which is hugely important for anyone who's basically self-driven and who's basically in entrepreneurship. And what we do here is that we align our vision for our life with the vision and mission of our business. Because as the saying goes, life is too short to be working in a business that we don't like, that doesn't serve our life and our purpose.
Yes, 100%.
And afterwards, when it comes to seeking clarity, after we go ahead with our vision. So here's the thing I want to basically just touch upon with your audience is the difference between our vision and a goal.
Yes.
Vision is something, it's like big picture, it's less vague, there's less specificity in it, but what it gives you is a meaning, and it gives you a feeling for you to shoot forward to, like a North Star.
Yes.
But goal is something that's more process driven, it's more tangible, and there's a set timeline and strategies where we get there. So basically what we do here with our clients as we go through this strategic process is to first define a vision, define our why, and distill it into milestones, starting with what we call a 90-day goal. Because as research has shown, and with I've read a lot of research journals when it comes to this, both from psychology and from a strategic standpoint, 90-day intervals is where we are able to basically be most motivated and be most driven along the way. And we distill everything into a 90-day goal and basically readjust and basically rebuild our milestones along the way. Because visions, they change, they expand, because clarity comes to action. And goals is where we allow ourselves to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to be.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And in Entire Task, we call those 90-day goals. They're actually called 30K, or within 3 months, basically. So it starts off with, you can think of today as kind of like on the ground, right? We're on the ground, we're working hard, right? A 10,000 foot view is, week. A 15,000 foot view is a couple of weeks. A 20,000 foot view is a month. And then our 30,000 foot view is that 90-day timeline that you're talking about there. So yeah, that's how that relates back inside of entire task. And so, I'm curious. I didn't ask you at the very beginning, what got you into coaching in the first place? How did you end up here?
Mm, that's a very great question. So first off, my personal development journey began when I moved from Hong Kong to UK as a foreign student when I was 18 years old. And that's where I basically stumbled upon the world of personal development. And I was shocked. I'm like, wait, there's like, I've been learning about how to study. I've been learning about how to like basically train my body with like fitness because I'm a huge health and fitness workout guy as well. But then I'm like, there's actually a way for you to train up your life and your mind and everything that you do. I'm like, where's all this in school? And afterwards, I'm just like, yeah, I gotta get into this. And and it really compelled me because I had a lot of insecurities and I had a degree of social anxiety, perfectionism, and a lot of fear basically installed within me because I grew with a background where you got to get A's or else you're going to be a failure. That's why I
Sure.
got into media and everything that basically along the lines of that. And basically afterwards, I started like it ignited the entrepreneurial spirit in me. So I started off with basically in a field of e-commerce. I was selling things on Amazon, also different things online. But then I knew nothing about the importance of productivity and clarity. All I had was a vague goal. All I had was like some scattered strategies and basically a mile-long to-do list that I kept on pushing back. And I was working on everything at once and all the busy work along with the work placements that I had just so like basically just for me, my background is with veterinary medicine, and I had to do all these work placements. I had to basically study a long time and go through like 10-hour work days, a lot of stuff, along with building my business on the side. And eventually it got to the point where I was so burnt out, I
Yeah.
almost basically went into a like very well potentially fatal accident, like dozing off at the wheel going 80 miles on the highway. So that's where I woke up. I'm like, I have the mindset, I'm motivated, I have the strategies, but I need a way for me to organize my thoughts, organize my task, organize my milestones, and actually allow myself to know exactly what to do and when, and how to self-regulate for high performance so that I can able to basically become the person who's able to wield the sword. That being said, the knowledge I have to get
Yeah.
a result.
That's great. That's great. And so that kind of brings us to power, right? Like, how do you find within yourself the power to continue on after you've got that clarity, right? And sometimes there are days when you're just like, oh God, this is not going the way that I wanted it to. How do you find the willpower to carry through? So that's like the initial power and then the willpower to keep continuing on. Tell us about that too.
Hmm, that's a great question. So basically, what a lot of people like to get hyped up on is the need for motivation. But
Mhm.
motivation is short-lived. It comes
Yeah.
and goes, and if we are only able to work and perform as our best self when we are motivated, then our progress and our performance in our business will be sporadic at best. So what we need really is to tap into our inner drive, which is more as a limitless source, as long as we are clear again on what we want to achieve. And
Yeah.
that's where I think that's where we click because I had a practice that realigns with the vision boards and all the things that you have with entire task, which reminds ourselves of why we are actually doing this, what our life at the next level and what our business at the next level is going to be looking like. And as long as we're able to really remind ourselves of why are we on this journey in the first place,
It does.
we are
It really comes
able to,
back
yeah,
to that
exactly.
why, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if there's no reason for us to do something, or if that reason is not strong enough, then things like we simply won't bother, especially when things get hard.
And
So
that's
yeah,
an interesting thing. That's something that I built into Entire Task as well, is that ranking system with the algorithm, right? Because that really helps people understand that you're working on the things that are most, that you told the system are most important to you. And so I was talking to a guy the other day, actually, I said, here's the backlog. And the backlog is all of the things that you didn't do on time, right? Because things come to us through time, like something that might be on the 90 day, right? In 2 months from now, it won't be in the 90 day anymore. It'll now be in our 20K, right? And then in a couple of weeks from then, it'll be in our 15K. And then all of a sudden, it'll be our 10K. And then it's like right up there in our week. And if we don't get it done, it just ends up in the backlog. But I told him it's not a bad thing, because if it ends up there, it probably really wasn't that important in the first place. And that's why it ended up there. I mean, sometimes we just have to let it go, right? Because we can only do so much. But also we can look in there and maybe think about, well, how can we delegate something, where I can't physically do all of those things. How can I get somebody on my team, somebody who's part of our project or whatever, to help us to, get us where we want to go, right?
absolutely. Because here's the thing is that we as entrepreneurs, we love to explore ideas. We love to go on tangents. We love to like do everything at once. But what basically Entire Task really, like, I would say one of the most powerful things I can see with Entire Task is the ability on how it allows you to organize your priorities, because it's not about our ability to cram as much stuff into our schedules. Productivity really is about allowing ourselves to maximize the quality of our tasks and the quality of how we use our time. So we just not only get stuff done, but we're able to achieve the right outcomes with
Yes.
the least amount of time possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that for me, even because I'm kind of just like you explained, I get excited about something and then I'm like, I'll do that right now. But I've actually, since I developed Entire Task, I've been really good about putting it in Entire Task and letting it tell me when I'm supposed to do it. Because there's something else that's more important, right? According to what I told the system. So the algorithm helps me to kind of throttle myself back so that I am really working on what I told it was most important. And I find by doing that, I'm able to achieve so much more, so much faster of what I really want to achieve, right? Like a couple of months ago, I was thinking, it was like 4 months ago now, I was thinking about going to Puerto Rico to check it out, right? And that was like a year goal. It was a year, it was like way out there. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm in Puerto Rico 3 months ago. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm here. But it focused me on the things that I said were important, right? And for me, it was deciding where we want to live long term. That's really important to me right now, to decide, right now, where are we going with this? And so I love that. So speaking of, you know, your priorities and things like that, and things that help you, how do you follow through now that you have the power and now you have the clarity? What do you do? What processes do you kind of go through, either with yourself or with your customers, to make sure that they follow through? Because that's one of the things that is so often, like, I know Grant Cardone's big event is coming up this weekend, right? And there's a lot of people who get really excited about it and do nothing.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, like that's something that I can go on forever with. But just to basically like just adding on to what you've said just now with priority is that when we are in the weeds and when things get hard, it's so easy for us to basically forget why we are doing these things in the first place.
Hmm.
And if we don't have those priorities laid out, just like basically what you do or we help people with entire tasks, is that when things get hard, we tend to look into different ways and pivot towards different directions
Hmm.
because logically, humans tend to simply take the routes of least resistance. But that's where we start hunting on basically shiny objects. That's where we pivot towards like heading towards the wrong direction and procrastinate by doing a lot of busy work that's more comfortable versus doing uncomfortable work that brings us progress.
And that's the thing is that like moonshots inside of entire task, we have two objects that are like really important. We have moonshots. Some people call them big, hairy, audacious goals. That's BHAGs. Some people call them that. I call them moonshots. And then we have milestones, right? And so often people kind of get off course with things, and then they wonder why they're not achieving what they want to achieve. But moonshots are hard, you know, and, to do those things that are those big goals that are really scary and really kind of confrontational to you, to step up to the plate and get in the game, right? Swing that bat. You're going to strike out a lot. You're going to have a lot of failures, like Elon Musk. He's got rockets blowing up all the time, but he's got not even a moonshot. He's got a Mars shot.
Exactly.
Maybe we should change the name of it, huh?
Yeah. When we start colonizing Mars, like, yeah, moonshot will become Mars shots. Let's put it on our radar. Yeah.
Maybe I'll change the name of it to a Mars shot instead.
Encourage people to keep on expanding their visions. So yeah, like just giving, like basically just going back into how we are going to actually implement and bring our outcomes to become a reality. So really a lot of things come back down to, again, clarity, because there's clarity towards our outcome goals, but there are also clarity towards our action goals. And as you said before, like, yep, people go onto events and consume a lot of knowledge, but if they aren't able to implement on those knowledge, then it's going to be self-help in self-help, either in business or in other areas of life. So what we really need to do is to break down exactly what to do and when. Because as I coach my clients all the time, when the quantity of the decisions go up, the quality of the decisions go down. For example, if all your willpower and all your brain power is being spent on should I do this, should I do that, or should I do this, or should I do that, then when it comes time to actually put in the work, you get so distracted, you get so scattered, and you just can't help but not follow through.
Yeah,
And
that's one of the reasons that I created the algorithm, right? Because in this day and age, like all of our old systems, I loved getting things done. I loved that way back in the day. But I'm a technical person, right? And I love computers. And I'm like, but I don't want to process these goals. I want to tell the system one time, or randomly when I change my mind about what's important, I tell the system that, and then I want it to figure out what I'm supposed to do next, so that then I don't have to look at this wall of tasks and go, oh my God, what should I do? Right? I want the system to say, hey, this is the most important task according to what you told us, right? And that just, for me, it's so helpful, because then I just go in and I've got this one little task to worry about, rather than, we say that old saying, which, God, I don't want to eat an elephant, but you eat it one bite at a time, right? Like you break it down into smaller pieces, so that we can move forward with it, rather than being so overwhelmed by everything that we've got to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, because all everything really comes out chunking. Like the more we are able to reconceptualize ourselves going through a task and achieving it, the more likely we are to achieve it. Because if like it's simply the analogy whereby if you can see the finish line, you'll be way more motivated to cross it
Yeah.
versus you're simply running and you have no idea whether you're even running in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. That's why, like, whenever anybody goes into the app, I encourage them, and we're actually making guides. I was working on the guides today. And so it's like a 10-day meditation schedule where you go in and you have a look at your vision board that you've created and you look at that for 10 days. And we're even thinking about maybe either giving people the opportunity to upload music or to, get music or whatever so that they can like have a meditative moment so that they can just look at their vision board and imagine themselves there, right? But it's not just about, and this is what we're finding in science, is that visualizing is phenomenal. It's really, really important, but you have to rub it up against reality, right? Like, okay, now I've visualized, now I have to do something about it. And I actually told this story a while ago about my dog. I don't know if I told you about it, but when I was 8 years old, I wanted to have a show dog, right? I wanted a show dog so badly, but I didn't want to show dogs. I wanted one, but I didn't want to show him. And so I eventually forgot about that goal, I forgot about
Mhm.
it. The universe did not forget about it because 48 years later, my dog
Wow.
breeder calls me up after I had purchased another dog like the year before. Dog breeder calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to have Coco's brother? I've kept him for this past year and I've been championing him. And now he's a three-time international champion. And I want to retire him. And I really want you to have him. I want him to be with Coco." And I'm like, universe, you were listening to that? But that's the thing. It's like the universe had to figure out 48 years. It had to figure out to get me that without me working on it. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
But had I worked on it, I probably could have had it within a year. Right?
Yeah. So basically, really like there's some like obviously there's something called like something is just meant to happen when it's time, but at the same time, as high achievers, we've got to control what's under our control. And a
Yep.
lot of things when it comes to productivity really is about increasing the speed of which we are able to achieve certain outcomes. And
Yes.
more clear we are
Yeah.
on exactly how to take action towards achieving it, then the more ownership and more control we have towards how our life, how our business, and how our external world is going to look like.
Exactly. Exactly. We have to
So
work
just,
towards it.
yeah, exactly. Because yes, a lot of people love to do like law of attraction manifestation, love the spreading the power of it. But then until we're able to follow through with the law of action, the law of manifestation or law of attraction will not work out. And that's why it's so important, especially when your business is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and your options and your to-do list gets longer and longer and longer. You've really got to reach a point whereby you can choose and you're clear on your decisions are the best decision that you're making. Because when I was first starting out, when I was building my business from the ground up, all I had to do was like a few action steps every single day, and like a paper journal can completely work for that. But
Yeah.
now that you have a team, now that you have different like you have different offers you push out. Now that you have different marketing plans, and now that you have different projects that you're working on at the same time, not only just for yourself, but also for a team, you've got to know which one comes first and which one comes after and after that, rather than trying to work on everything at once. This really reminds me of like one of my clients. Like she's an amazing high achiever. She's got ambitious goals, but when I looked at her daily calendar, I'm like, wow, you've got 15 tasks that you want to complete today. Just with the transitions that you are making throughout the day, you're wasting at least 5 hours, because study has shown that per transition, we
Yes.
actually need to take 20 to 30 minutes to actually get back to the zone. So
Yeah.
I'm like, why not choose which one to get done first and
Yeah,
chunk the task down and make transitions?
that's so true. And that's one of the reasons that inside of Entire Task, I created those areas of your life, right? Because I was listening, Elon Musk, he kind of chunks, time blocks things out, right? So he'll work in one company for a day and he'll do a certain type of work. And so, for instance, engineering, right? Versus sales and marketing.
Mhm.
And as a CEO, you've got to do both things, right? But engineering is a very different mindset than sales and marketing. And so it's really nice inside of Entire Tasks to be able to say, hey, what are all of my engineering type of things, right? Inside of Entire Tasks, we would call that production. What are all my production things? Or what are all my promotion things? So that then you've got that context, that thought inside your mind. Okay, I'm just working on these types of activities for a couple of hours. And then maybe I might make a transition into those other things. Also, another thing that we're finding is people are generally only able, high achievers can manage about 5 things a day, low achievers about 3 things, right? 15 things a day, that's either mania
Or you're just basically shooting yourself in the foot.
exactly, or you need to hire somebody else and start delegating stuff. you know
Exactly. So many people, they just want to do, and do. They want to do everything at once, thinking
Mhm.
that more is more. But sometimes all you need to do is to simplify, trim out the fats, and focus on what really moves the needle. What I
Absolutely.
always talk about with my clients is be ruthless, cutting out the trivial many and focusing on the vital few.
Yeah.
There's an 80-20 rule. There's a lot of other theories, but you get a gist.
Yeah.
That's what I'm focused.
Absolutely. Well, it's been so awesome having you on today. And I'd love to know what your gift for our listeners is.
Awesome. So this is something that I don't basically give out often, but here's my invitation for your audiences, because I believe that since our missions align with so much with each other, I think they will love this gift. So I have this free Facebook community for entrepreneurs, just for them to optimize their productivity and performance. So the Facebook group name is called Productivity and Performance for coaches and consultants. But obviously, there's also a group for anyone, any high achiever who wants to upgrade their life, their business, and achieve more with less. So what happens in this group is that not only does it offer you a community to network with other high achievers and also service-based or client-based businesses, but it also hosts value-based posts as well as weekly live trainings for free,
That's great.
designed to help you guys do more with less and or achieve more by doing less, and also to really tap into the art of addition by subtraction. And there's also a whole library of units and resources designed to basically allow you to scale your business or scaling up your time freedom. So
I
if you
loved
want to
what you
tap
just
into it,
said.
it's called, yeah.
the addition by subtraction. I love that. Go ahead.
Because yep, our time is finite, but quality of our work is infinite. We can always increase our efficiency, productivity, and return on time invested. So if you guys want to check it out, the website is called www.productivityandperformance.net. So basically one word, productivity, and performance.net. And if you go on this website, it can link you directly into our Facebook group. You can simply go ahead and come join us and come join our mission.
Perfect. I'm going to jump in there for sure. I'll make sure that we put it down below this post. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And I look forward to hearing some of your live training in your group there.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I just want to say, well, if you're not getting entire task yet, go check it out because yeah, it's awesome. It will change your life just with what we've gone through before. Everything starts with clarity. And as long as you're able to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, I prioritize your task and know exactly what you do and when. It's going to be a matter of time before you can achieve whatever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, you have an awesome day there in Hong Kong. And I'm going to go take a little walk in the snow with my little puppies.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.